American R&B singer, songwriter, author, and actress Amerie Mi Marie Rogers was born in Fitchburg, Massachusetts in 1980 to a Korean mother and an African-American father. She describes her parents as conservative, protective, traditional Christians. It was always study, study, study. We could only go out at the weekends, couldn't use the phone during the week. I didn't mind. I preferred to stay inside anyway, playing with my sister, or talking to my parents, or reading. Her father was a member of the U.S. military, so the family moved around a lot. Alaska, Texas, Virginia, and New York, as well as overseas to Germany and South Korea. While in high school, she'd begin writing and recording at home in her room. After graduation, she enrolled at Georgetown University to study English literature and fine arts. While furthering her education, Amerie continued to pursue her passion for music, which involved traveling back and forth to New York trying to secure a record deal. She even tried to go the girl group route, but it was difficult to keep a steady lineup. One night, one of the girls in the group put on a fashion show at a nightclub. Through her, Amerie met the manager of the club and let him know that she sang. A couple of years later, she walked back into the same club, and the same manager just happened to be on the phone with music producer Rich Harrison. Like Amerie, he was at the start of his career trying to make it. The manager remembered Amerie telling him that she could sing, so he introduced them to one another, and they set up a time to meet, of all places, in a McDonald's parking lot. He played her some beats he had been working on, and she sang him some songs that she'd written. By the end of the meeting, they knew they had something special. Rich began recording and developing demos with Amerie, and before long, she would sign her first deal with Columbia Records. Amerie's first foray into the spotlight was as a featured artist on the 2001 single Rule by rapper Nas. In July 2002, her debut single, Why Don't We Fall in Love, was released. It peaked at number 23 on the Billboard Hot 100 and became a top 10 hit on the R&B hip-hop songs chart. Amerie's debut album, All I Have, dropped that same month. The following year, she would win a Soul Train Music Award for Best New Artist. Also around this time, Amerie began dating her manager and music executive, Lenny Nicholson. They would marry in 2011. In January 2005, Amerie released the song that would skyrocket her career. One Thing, the first single off her follow-up album, which sampled the song Old Calcutta by 70s funk band The Meters, would also become her biggest hit to date. It made it into the top 10 on the Hot 100, captured the number 1 spot on the R&B hip-hop songs chart, and was featured on the soundtrack to the 2005 romantic comedy film, Hitch. The song would also end up having a very interesting two-sided story attached to it. Version number 1 was that the label wasn't feeling the track when it was presented to them. Amerie, apparently believing so strongly that she did have a hit on her hands, took it upon herself to shop the song around to DJs. They played it, and it blew up immediately. Later, it was said that megastar, singer, dancer, actress Jennifer Lopez wanted the song after hearing it and was willing to do whatever it took to get it for her next album. The label even preferred the idea of J-Lo singing the song over Amerie, so they gave it to her. However, Amerie pulled a slick one and leaked it to radio before the Boricua bombshell could get her version out. Jennifer would have to settle for another song written and produced by Rich, called Get Right, featured on her 2005 album, Rebirth. There was no denying that Rich Harrison had the touch, and together he and Amerie cultivated her signature sound, which was very much rooted in the 70s genre of go-go, the ultra-percussive mutation of funk and soul. And not surprisingly, other artists started to pop up with tracks produced by him that had a very similar sound to Amerie. One artist in particular that she was questioned about quite a bit in interviews was Beyoncé. Rich co-wrote the song Crazy in Love off her 2003 Dangerously in Love album, as well as several songs on her 2006 album, B-Day. Some people believe that Queen Bee did outright copy Amerie's style. However, Amerie always maintained a very diplomatic opinion about it.
Was it a point where you thought Beyonce was trying to imitate you?
No, I wouldn't say that. I mean, a lot of people are going to say different things, but it's like what I was saying. Like, artists, we're all in dialogue with each other. So no artist is an island. You can't say, oh, well, I have no influences. And sometimes people try to say, well, I have an influence, like the 50-year-old ones from back in the day. But it's like we're all influenced by old music and current music. Like, you can't get around it.
Amerie's sophomore effort titled Touch followed several months after One Thing exploded on the charts. The title track was also released as a single, however, it produced lackluster numbers compared to One Thing. This album would give Amerie her first Grammy nomination. Actually, two. One for Best Female R&B Vocal Performance for One Thing, and Best Contemporary R&B Album. Amerie didn't waste any time getting back in the studio, and by the next year, she would be ready to drop the first single off her third album. The track, called Take Control, did become a top 10 hit in the UK, no doubt due to the album being released there first instead of the US, which Amerie didn't agree with at all. The album, titled Because I Love It, her first without Rich Harrison's involvement, didn't receive an official US release until the following year, and by that time, Amerie's tenure at Columbia was over. She spoke of her difficulties with the label, stating that they weren't promoting her third album adequately. There had also been major delays and shakeups within the label executive teams, and the politics, naturally, affected many of the releases during that time. In the summer of 2008, Amerie announced that she'd signed a deal with Island Def Jam Music Group. Her fourth album, and first on her new label, titled In Love and War, was released in November 2009. It would end up being her poorest showing yet. In July 2010, Amerie announced that she had changed the spelling of her name to include two I's. I operate on vibes and intuition, and I believe everything is energy. The vibration of the double I is right for me. Slightly different spelling, completely same pronunciation. Then, Amerie took a significant chunk of time, approximately 5 years, to complete her next project. In March 2015, she collaborated once again with longtime friend and producer Rich Harrison on the song Out Loud. It would be the lead single off her upcoming EP titled Drive. The album received a lot of positive attention, and Rolling Stone magazine even named it one of the best R&B albums of 2016. Additionally, she became a published author in 2017 when she put out an anthology book titled Because You Love to Hate Me. In the last quarter of 2018, Amerie dropped her first studio album in 9 years. It's a double album released as two separate albums, 4 a.m. Mulholland and After 4 a.m. Back in 2014, Amerie relaunched her YouTube channel, focused on her passions for beauty and books. Then, in 2019, she started a book club segment. In May 2018, she and her husband grew their family by welcoming their first child, a son. The following year, Amerie updated her fans on social media that a new album was in the works, as well as a possible tour to celebrate the anniversary of her debut album. Today, Amerie continues to keep busy by performing on occasion, taking care of her son, as well as maintaining her book club, which has grown exponentially and become very popular over the last 2 years. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and comment. Also, don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications so you won't miss any future videos. See you next time!